Tigray External Affairs Office says the findings by the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia should provide further impetus to the international community to use all tools to stop the genocide on Tigray. Commissioner for the Commission of Inquiry on Tigray's Genocide says international community should decouple issues of collective security from national interests. Welcome to Tigrai Television. I am Mary Naiman. I'll be presenting the news for you today. Stay tuned. Tigray External Affairs Office says the findings by the International Commission of Human Rights Expert on Ethiopia should provide further impetus to the international community to use all tools to stop the genocidal assault on Tigray. The office says the international community should pressure Abiy Ahmed's government into allowing the Human Rights Commission access to various crime spots inside Tigray. Abel Zagawa reports.
Tigray External Affairs Office issued a statement earlier today where it said the findings by the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia should provide further impetus to the international community to use all tools to stop the genocidal assault on Tigray. The office further stated that the government of Tigray welcomes the report by the International Commission, for it sheds light on the complex genocidal war in Tigray and establishes facts of the atrocities committed by Ethiopian forces and its allies from the onset of the war beyond reasonable doubt. The statement calls on the international community to press Abiy Ahmed to allow the Commission an access to Tigray, noting that the Commission would not fulfill its investigation mandate without unimpeded physical access to all crime spots in Tigray. The office also said that the government of Tigray takes allegations against its forces seriously and will ensure the perpetrators be brought to justice and had already responded to allegations of crimes committed by Tigrayan forces in Jana and Kobo. The International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia issued its preliminary report on Monday stating that it found reasonable grounds to believe that war crimes and crime against humanity had been committed by the Ethiopian government on Tigray.
Commission of Inquiry for Tigray Genocide welcomes the findings by the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia. Commissioner for the Commission, Yaman Azar says this afternoon, his commission has welcomed the report for it recognizes the heinous crimes committed in Tigray and the complete siege that has devastated the people of Tigray. Abizagawa reports again.
Commission of Inquiry for Tigray Genocide welcomes the finding by the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia. Commissioner for the Commission, Yaman Azar, says his commission has welcomed the report for it recognizes the heinous crimes committed and the complete siege that has devastated the people of Tigray.
That tries to recognize for us general and basic facts. Because of that, we welcome this report. It has recognized basic facts that there were a serious atrocities committed in Tigray because of the war on Tigray in aspects of sexual and gender-based violence, with particular violence, it says, with particular violence and brutality, with intent to destroy the ethnic Tigrayans, with the intent to destroy the fertility, and the facts of mass killings, which are very huge in number, the facts of very serious destructions and lootings of property, and most importantly, it recognizes the complete siege that Tigray has faced.
The Commissioner stated that the report has failed to call what has unfolded in Tigray genocide, while issues of intent had been raised on its findings. He said the report has some other limitations as it was conducted remotely and unable to speak with Tigrayan refugees in neighboring countries.
The facts that are put here are investigated remotely, because the Ethiopian government cannot allow the commission and the experts to go out of Addis. It was only in Addis that the commission was allowed to get and talk with only some officials and authorities of the federal government. They cannot investigate issues. They cannot see issues of destruction, issues of atrocities on site, so they cannot be allowed even to get access to Sudan and Djibouti, where there are thousands of refugees there. UN agencies and other international institutions were not willing to cooperate with this commission, as the report has stated, and it has greatly affected with the comprehensiveness of this report. And the involvement of the Eritrean government and Eritrean troops is seen in every witnesses, in every accounts of the victims and witnesses, but the Eritrean government couldn't allow itself to get contact with the commission. Though issues of intent, issues of purpose, issues of serious gravity of atrocities are raised in the report have failed to mention the word genocide. It stopped in short of mentioning war crimes and crimes against humanity.
Asked about allegations against Tigrayan forces on atrocities committed in Chana and Kobo, the commissioner says atrocities committed by an element of a force will not equate to a systematic and deliberate act of genocide.
There may be some individual grievances, some individual crimes committed, but the government is ready, first, to fully cooperate on the investigation. Secondly, the government has tried to investigate the issues by itself and have tried to take corrective measures, judicial corrective measures with regard. And there are tens of members of the troop which have taken already judicial decisions with this regard. So, as the report has clearly stated, the crimes committed by the Ethiopian forces and allies from the regional government, the crime committed by militias, the crime committed by the Eritrean government are systematically done with special intents. So the allegations and the issues raised on Tigray forces cannot be equated with that one. First, with the coverage and the scale. Secondly, with the intent.
Speaking about the response by the international community, the commissioner says the international community should separate issues of collective security from national interest. Yamane says international community's response to two similar situations shouldn't be different based on color and location. Let's take a listen.
The treatment with these issues shouldn't be different in based on continents or colors. And the recommendations of serious recommendations of the Commission have to be followed with this regard. There are good recommendations that the Commission has put. The first one is negotiation issues are differentiated. Humanitarian issues like civilian safety, accountability issues are not subject to be subjected to negotiations. That we repeatedly are saying that the international community still is ignoring. We repeatedly say that the responsibility to protect versus sovereignty should be seriously balanced on this scale. The issues of collective security that the UN and other international organizations are established primarily should be clearly separated with the national interest of states. Otherwise, the international community will fail. If still the international community is still to base itself on separate national interests, still to base itself on issues of sovereignty of a state, it will fail.
Global Society of Tigray Scholars and Professionals called on United Nations Human Rights Council to extend and expand the mandate of the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia. The Society also asked Human Rights Council to ensure that the Commission is provided with sufficient resources, including funding, staffing, technical, and logistical support. Let's take a look at the report.
On Tuesday, Global Society of Tigray Scholars and Professionals wrote to the United Nations Human Rights Council President Federico Villegas requesting for an extension of the mandate of the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia. GST said it has learned of the limitations that have obstructed the work of the Commission and called on the UN Human Rights Council to extend and expand the mandate of the International Commission at least by a year or more. The letter asks the Human Rights Council to ensure that the Commission is provided with sufficient resources including funding, staffing, technical and logistical support, and to pressure the Ethiopian government to allow the Commission to all sites without any territorial limitations. It also asked that the Commission be allowed to access Tigrayan refugees in Sudan, South Sudan, Kenya, Uganda and Djibouti to give their testimonies. The society said Tigray remains disconnected from the international commission in the world, which it said was deliberately imposed on the people of Tigray to block the flow of information that could give the exact picture of the damage in Tigray. Just as said, it strongly condemns the international community, including the Human Rights Council, for their indifference to human suffering and by the uneven treatment based on color, race, and geographical location, and appealed to the Council to preserve the principle-based international order by addressing the gross human rights violation in Tigray.
Tigray University Scholars Association urges the international community for a meaningful intervention before another round of human catastrophe unfolds in the region. In its letter to the United Nations, African Union, and the European Union on Tuesday, the association stated that new rounds of hostilities and its massive mobilizations accompanied by violent attack on civilians are taking place while the international community is watching idly by. TUSA announced that Ethiopian government is conducting air raids on Tigray with kindergarten, hospitals, civilian residential areas, and university campuses being its primary targets, resulting in terror and displacement of massive civilian population within the region. The association also added that the international community has the duty to stop the war and must act accordingly so as not to repeat past mistakes that should have never been committed in the first place. Amnesty International urged the United Nations of Human Rights Council to extend the mandate of the International Commission for Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia. The rights group said that the Council should work to support the accountability to end cycles of atrocities in the region, adding that it should boost the independent rights experts' budget and capacity so that they can conduct their work needed to save lives of millions in Tigray. The Ethiopian government had denied the independent rights experts entry to Tigray, leaving countless atrocities committed in the region in the dark and with the magnitude of the issues being thoroughly misunderstood. The International Commission for Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia has released its first report on Monday, saying that they have found evidence that Ethiopian government is behind crime against humanity committed on Tigray. The war that has been waged on Tigray is featured with brutal atrocities that claim the lives of many and put many more in danger. The atrocities are continuing in places that have been under control of the Ethiopian and allied forces. Our reporters have visited Tsalimoy, a village in northwestern Tigray that has been recently recaptured by Tigray armed forces, and prepared the following report about atrocities committed in the village. Wintakidana has the report.
Massacres, rape, abduction, and looting have been the main features of the war on Tigray. The following is testimony of residents of Tsalimoy, a village in western Tigray that had been under the hostile occupation of Ethiopian forces and the Fano vigilante group for more than a year. The village has recently been recaptured by the Tigray armed forces after the resumption of the war on Tigray by the Ethiopian government and its allies on August 21st of 2022. The residents say many people from their neighborhood had been murdered in their homes for the reason that they are Tigrayans.
Many elders, even older than 85 years, were murdered at their bed, and some of them were even killed, and their neck was hanged upon their door front as a flag. They stabbed many nuns under their breast and left them there to die. Their action clearly proved that they want to exterminate the people and take away the land. Elders were gunned down, stabbed by a knife at their home while they were praying. There also are abducted people. They are lost from their neighborhood and we have no idea where they are now. What the invaders did to this village is beyond description.
The residents also say that not only did the Allied invaders took the lives of many innocents, but also slaughtered many animals brutally.
During the last 2 weeks, 80 livestock that belonged to the neighborhood were slaughtered in a brutal way and taken away by the invading forces.
Last year, elderly people were killed, our livestock slaughtered, and our donkeys were killed.
As the atrocities committed on different parts of Tigray kept unfolding, the world is witnessing terrifying stories of violence. The question remains, how many lives would it really be enough to wake up the world and take action?
That ends our news for the hour. Thank you for tuning in.